Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? It is Saturday morning and we are radiant. You hear me? Welcome to Be Radiant, where we build and empower everyone to live radiant lives. I tell you, we bring people on to let you know what's happening in our community, how you can be a part of what is positive, and how your life can change as a result of what is happening through their lives. We have a young lady on this morning who is dynamic. She is making things happen not only for herself, but for those around her. And I'm going to let her tell her story. So without further ado, I would like to invite Miss Elbi Elm into our presence this morning to let us know what it feels like to have the spirit of an entrepreneur. And not only that, but how it moves and motivates her life to be positive change for those around her. Come on in the room, Elbi. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning. It is my pleasure. I am excited to have you. And we have Miss Latricia in the room, another mover and shaker. I tell you, Elbi, I'm getting on up in years. I'm a little bit older, and I'm really happy about that. I feel real good in my skin. But do you know what makes me feel the way I do?
What is it?
It's being connected to dynamic young people who are coming up and doing their thing. And that's what you're doing. When I put in some of the advertisement, I says, y'all, this girl is the truth. And so I love it. I love it. I love it. So if you can do me a favor, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Elbi. I am a Air Force vet. I am a single mom. I'm a Howard University grad, HU, SCAD alumna, and I'm just, a regular girl, regular neighbor from Pontiac, Michigan, just hanging out with y'all. That's it.
All right now. All right. All of that, y'all, but she's just a regular girl. I love regular then. If you're regular, I can appreciate all of that. I have seen you in the last, probably, I've been kind of watching you from a distance. I'm one of those observers of people. And I've seen you in some places that I know to be able to sit in those places and feel comfortable in your skin, you have to be a phenomenal person because they're hard rooms to be in. They're hard rooms. They're rooms where you're hearing about injustice. They're rooms where you're hearing about the difficulty to move into business because of a very simple thing,
Right.
the color of our skin. And yet you sit in those rooms with a boldness and a confidence. And so I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And with that being said, tell us a little bit about the Culturist Union. That just piqued my interest. Talk to us about that.
So the Culturist Union is my brainchild. It's my baby. I started it officially 2 years ago, but it's been probably a few years in the making. And really, it's just a cultural hub for all of us, for, Black entrepreneurs to get together and commune. That's the simplest way I can put it. We've hosted events, forums, discussions, all centered around cultural enrichment. And so we just get out into the community and do what needs to be done.
I love that. I love that. It gives a space. You know what? I've been told, I don't think I'm what do you call them now? A creative.
Okay.
I self-identify. However, I've been told by some people that I do have that creative spirit in me as well. Just knowing that you have a place where people can get together and kind of bounce ideas around, talk about some things and make them better, that is awesome. In light of that, what are some of the services? Like you said, you guys it's kind of a place to get together and a hub to talk. But what are some services that you offer now online?
Absolutely. So we've done entrepreneurial summits just because I've recognized that our what you see traditional, nonprofits and people who are, invested in small business ownership and entrepreneurial, they don't think about the minority entrepreneur. They don't think about the lack of capital, the lack of access, the lack of education. And so I really wanted to take a stand on that and say, okay, well, let's create an entrepreneurial summit. Let's create, an incubator where these entrepreneurs can become entrepreneurs, and we meet them where they're at. Another thing that we do is this thing called a Black Millennial Roundtable discussion, which is probably, to be honest, like my favorite, because we get these bright, educated Black millennials together from all different walks and perspectives. And we just talk about a subject matter. And you quickly realize when you're in that space that Black people are not monolithic, and their ideas range, and you kind of might have to simmer them down a little bit, but it's really awesome to just see all of us together in a room, and pouring into each other and just having a good discussion. We've also done bipartisan voter education forums, which was really crucial in the last election, to be able to tell our community who these elected officials are and serve as a platform in the middle of the pandemic. We've done wellness series. TCU has done a lot. So, we could probably sit all day talking about all of those things, but I will say digitally, the two main drivers are the roundtable discussions and the entrepreneurial summits.
All right. All right. Now, I've been looking too. There are a couple of businesses that have launched, and they're a part of the Culturist Union, and they're doing really well. What do you do to support someone that comes in like that?
Absolutely. So we started this thing, like I said, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, where someone would come in and say, okay, I have this idea. And our team would sit with them and formulate a plan, formulate from A to Z on how they can get this done with the resources that they have. They don't have to go out and seek any more resources. We're like, okay, if you want to have a cookie empire, let's start with you baking some cookies and selling them at a marketplace. Let's start where you're at and then grow. And so we've been able to do that. And I'm really proud to say that we've had some businesses that have grown and have prospered and have made them a name for themselves in the community. So,
all right.
The Black Artist Series. The Black Artist Series was a partnership with the Bode Studios, where we highlighted Black artisans for almost 24 weeks. And we capped it off in celebration with the first Black artist vendor market. And out of the 14 vendors that were there, 5 of them sold out of their products. We had almost, I think, a little over 300 people show up on a Saturday to support these artisans. It was amazing to see that. So yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. I want you to know too, the unfortunate part is that this kind of runs across the board about that. And Marcus said it, the lack of epidemic that kind of plagues Black owners, Black entrepreneurs. It's not just in that segment. It happens. I'm a pastor, and I came in, I'm a church plant. A church plant is where you pretty much bring something new, a new concept or idea about how church looks into a community. And it plagues that world as well, because the funding that's there for some churches is not there for the African American church. So we have to be willing to say that out loud. I've had people to say, don't kind of tamp that down. Don't come with that kind of attitude. And it's not an attitude, but it's an understanding of the truth of how things look out there. So to have you be able to stand up and be bold enough to say, you know what? Yeah, all businesses need help, but I want to make sure that we are nurturing the Black owned business, that we are promoting the Black artists, because we need that. We need someone that stands up in that arena.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always think about, I think Malcolm X said it one time, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, he realized very quickly, from having so many siblings, that, pretty much if you're the loudest, you get the attention. And I think that I don't know. I see people in what I like to call these, Facebook scriptures or Facebook quotes where they're telling you to like, oh, be quiet, stay in the background, and then one day you're going to rise up and be successful. And I'm like, okay, well, let's make that make sense to me, because first of all, if no one knows what you're doing, then no one's going to offer you any support. And if you're quiet about what you're doing, then people aren't going to rally around you. And everybody knows, just from history, anyone who has been successful has done it with a collective group of, unsung, unknown individuals that have helped them. So I don't believe in being quiet about things, because when I'm vocal about things, then those things get attention. So
Absolutely. My mom used to say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's how she would put it. And I'm sure lots of other moms and grandmas have said that, but the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So absolutely. And what we need is the oil to make sure that we are able to move forward. You said something when she came into the room this morning. I was on the phone with my Yadas. Hey, Yadas. I was on the phone with my Yadas, which is a group of women that I have. They encourage me. They push me. They don't let me shrink. And so do you have a group of people like that around you? You just said it, those unsung heroes, people that they may never know that they're in the background encouraging you.
I have so many people like that. Like I said, if I was here, we would be all day talking about them. I'm an Eastern Star, so I have my sisters, I have my friends, I have my little sister, I have just business mentors. What I did really well when I first started TCU was I recognized that I was going to have to network my way to where I wanted to be. And so as I was networking, I was gathering up these people, and I would be very plain about it. Like, will you be my mentor? Will you be my person? And I called them up and they called me. Like, if they don't hear from me, I have professors, friends. If they don't hear from me, they're like, okay, Elbi, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. What's going, what's new at TCU? What are you doing? How are you getting this done? Like, I have that. I do. I do.
Beautiful. We need it. It takes a village. It really and truly does. You just mentioned the word networking. I call it net weaving, because I believe that we are interconnected. And if we are net weaving, that means there's going to be a day when I can help them, and there's going to be a day that they can help me. And we just kind of work that thing together. So yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that you've got those people cheering in your corner. And with that being said, too, you mentioned, I just saw the article that was in Savannah Morning News. Talk to us a little bit about this coffee shop that's coming to pass.
So, like I said, when I first started the Culturist Union, in my head, it was going to be a co-working space. It was going to be a space for Black entrepreneurs to commune and collaborate with one another. And I very quickly realized that I don't have the social capital or the monetary capital to get this done. And so I had to pivot. So what I did was I took everything that I would cultivate and have in a physical brick and mortar space and do it online. And then I said, okay, well, if I do this idea, it's going to take me 5 to 7 years to get it done. But if I create, what can I create that is adjacent to this co-working space? And it was a coffee house, because if you go to Starbucks, you see people working, you see people collaborating, you see people communing. However, what you don't see is Black entrepreneurs, Black creators in those spaces, because for one, we have to assimilate when we're in those spaces. And then for two, we don't feel welcomed. So I said, well, let me create a coffee house where you get everything that you would get from a co-working space in this space. So I guess it's like a business incubator that serves coffee. It's really, really what it is. So I'm excited about it. I'm geeked.
Yes. Two of my favorite things, launching entrepreneurs, making sure they have a platform, and coffee. Girl, I'll be there for the
You know,
coffee. Mm.
cheers.
Make sure you put a keto coffee on the menu. And I know you can pretty much keto anything, but make sure there's something specific.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about that later, girl. Oh man, well that is amazing to hear, because I believe, and I keep coming back to it, as a pastor, a lot of times pastors miss the moment and the understanding that the church should be in the marketplace. You shouldn't have to leave what you're doing to come to the church. The church should be where you are. So I'm just going to let you know, I'm probably going to be a regular up in there, helping to encourage and motivate people to move and to do what has been put in their spirit and in their souls to do. So yeah. You've kind of bought me. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. All right. So, tell me this. I'm a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a pivot in our conversation here, because I admire what you're doing through the Culturist Union and how you are motivating young Black entrepreneurs and artists. But I also had the pleasure of observing you in different settings. And one of those settings, and it's going to take a little bit of a build up here. You know, we went into lockdown in March.
I'm curious.
We went into lockdown in mid-March due to Corona, and we were learning how to adjust to our lives. You were trying to figure out how to do this whole Culturist Union online. You're taking a shift, and we had to adjust to that slower pace of life, and we had to stay on top of all the information from the CDC, from the city, from the state, and all this stuff is going on, and we're a little bit anxious in the middle of it all. But then right in the middle of all that, we watched the life drain from George Floyd's body online, live and in person. We were a captive audience because we weren't going anywhere at that time. And then all of a sudden our minds are like, oh my God, how do we deal with the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic? We're watching this online and it doesn't look like anything's happening. So we've got to speak up. How do we speak up in the middle of that? And then if that wasn't enough, we hear about Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed in February, and no one said anything. And the people are at home living their lives as though they hadn't just taken the life of someone. And we recognized that we were embarking once again on a resurgence of our fight for justice. You know, you can tell me all day that my skin color doesn't matter, but when I see it on TV, I know that it does, that there's a different justice system. Talk to me about what was going through your mind at that time and how you made a shift in how you presented Elbi to the world.
I don't know if it was necessarily a shift, because I've always been vocal about the things that bothered me, you know, or things that affected the Black community. I remember when, you know, Trayvon Martin was slain, and I was stationed in Japan, and I was in a church that was very vocal about that, and I was very vocal about that. But I don't think that I was in the position that I was in now to actually do, or even in the mindset to actually do something about it. And so when this happened, it was like, okay, well, how do we not just shine a spotlight? Because what I really do believe that people, we live in this microwave society where we see something, we get upset, we burst, and then we, you know, we come out of the microwave and that's it. So it's like, okay, well, what actually needs to happen? And what I realized what needed to happen was policy change. And so we can rally in the street, and those things are well needed, and we need people protesting, we need people being loud, and we need people on Facebook, you know, not sharing what happened, but sharing about the injustices and things like that. But most importantly, we need things to change at a systematic level. And so that's when I enrolled into a policy institute to learn how to write policy. And that's when I said, okay, let me start making these connections with city leaders. Let me start putting my, putting on a political face to actually make those changes. And so, yeah, I don't know if I answered that question for you, but I definitely believe that systematic change happens in policy.
Absolutely. I like the fact, like you said, that yes, we need the protest, because that was the automatic thing. We all just said, let's hit the street in the middle of a pandemic. I was out there. I'm just going to tell you. I was out there with my mask on. I sure did. I had my mask on and I had my sign up. And my sign said, we're human beings. That's what my sign said. I wasn't out there, and I believe that we have to say Black Lives Matter. And the sad thing about that is that we have to say it.
Yes.
But my thing was, where is our humanity?
Mm-hmm.
We have to scream and say, where is our humanity? How dare we ever say, if he had complied? Those kind of things just run around in my head.
Listen, makes sense. I feel the same way, and I think that people think that they have to have a lot of money to incorporate change, or they have to have a certain sort of political astute, or they have to have some grandiose job, or all of these things. And it's like, no, you don't. You just have to see a problem and want to solve it. And so I would encourage everyone that they can buy a book. If Trisha's still on here, she posted about it the other day. It's like how to run for office and things like that. I enrolled in the Georgia Women's Policy Institution. It's a program that teaches you how to, draft policy for women's rights, and women's rights is social rights. And so I encourage people to just do their part. If they see a problem, even if the problem is like very minute, we talk about, grandiose things, George Floyd, these huge problems, but like, let's bring it down a little bit. There's a pothole in your neighborhood, and that you and your neighbor don't have enough money to get new tires if you drive over that pothole. What can I do to solve this problem right here? You don't have to be mayor to solve that problem.
Absolutely.
You just see the need and do it. And so that's what I encourage people to do, is like, see the small need and get that done. And then we'll work on the big needs, right? There's still small things that need to be done.
Absolutely. I admire what you said, that you began to help put on virtual political, I guess,
forums.
There you go. Forums. There's the word I'm looking for. Political forums. And what I love even more about it is that it was bipartisan. You wanted us to hear the whole story. And that's the thing. I think, I do have an affiliation, I'll say that. But the thing about it is, unless we're hearing from both sides and we can begin, and I told you earlier, the truth is always somewhere in the middle.
Listen, I am an Air Force veteran. I was in the Air Force for 9 years. And so I believe in studying the other side, right? And so you have to be strategic about that. Regardless of wherever you stand, you need to know what the other position is thinking and what their moves and strategies are. And I believe that our community is ghastly misinformed about so many things, because we have media feeding us, and we don't, and media is biased. Like, it just is what it is. And so I partnered with a brilliant man, Dr. Jamal Touré. And then I also partnered, because I strongly believe in partnerships, is the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber. And I said, okay, you guys have the the popularity that I don't have, and you have the knowledge and the willpower. Let's put this together. And of course, Dr. Ture Burian, big brother that he was like, okay, let's do it. And so we contacted all of the elected officials. We contacted all the people who were running for positions and said, like, open invitation, come on. And I was completely just overwhelmed by how many people came into the space and was able to share. And every single time we did these forums, we were serving like 10,000 individuals. We didn't do debates. I don't believe in debates. I don't believe that it was, this tick for tat thing. We had the audience members present questions. Mm-hmm. Wanted them to hear directly from the candidates. Mm-hmm. And we gave them a 2-minute time frame, and I was not afraid to press the mute. Ever took more than their 2 minutes. And it was amazing because people just got to talk about their platform. Mm-hmm. It's important because when you are a voter, you need to make informed decisions. You need to know who you are voting for, and then you need to know who they are. You need to have a face to the name, because if they don't do what they said they were going to do, you need to hold them accountable. So.
Absolutely. You just said the most important part is you can vote for someone based on what they tell you, and then you don't address it until it's time to vote again. And then you're like, well, you didn't do and you didn't. No, you vote for them. They win, let's say. They're in office now. It's like, okay, so now remember you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can help you with number 3. How do you want me to help you with number 3? I have some expertise in this area. Let put me to work. That's what I tell my elected officials. There are a few of them. I had a conversation with one yesterday that had a project that she wants me to work on, not because she saw me, but because I went to her and I said, look, I voted for you. This is why I voted for you. And this is some area of expertise that I have. When you need me, here I am. And even if it's not an area of expertise, I can learn whatever it is you need me to learn. Come on. I don't want them to ever say, well, no one supported me. Not if I have an opportunity to do it. And I see that you're that kind of girl too.
Well, I think that we have a duty to, as citizens to be a part of the change, right? Mm-hmm. I know it's a common colloquialism saying, be the change that you want to see, but I also believe that it's important for us to do our part. These elected officials are one person. They have, a myriad of other problems that on their platform that they have to address. And so I think it's important for us to say, okay, I know, that this is going to be an issue. So let me take that step forward. And I've also made it my business to know these people. Like, I will introduce myself to these people. I have their number. I have their email address. If something happens, call them up, email them. Hey, sis. Hey, brother. Let's talk about this thing. Mm-hmm. And most of them are very receptive. I mean, you don't get into politics to be a recluse. So
right. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're not willing to have someone in your email box or your inbox on Facebook or in your phone, then public office is not for you. I believe, I guess my thing is, I don't have a problem addressing either side of the issue, meaning if they're Republican or they're Democrat or they're independent, I don't care who you are a public servant and I am a part of the public. And so if I can help whoever, then I will do it, because it's all about getting things accomplished, getting things done in our community. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think that people think that you are only allegiant to the person that you voted for. And it's like, no, even if your person didn't win, you need to make that connection. It's your civil right to make that connection with whomever is serving in that position, because they are serving you. So, and I believe, like, if I'm paying for a service, my tax dollars are paying for a service, I'm gonna need that service to be complete. It's no different than any other service industry. So, tone
Absolutely.
it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will tell you one thing, being a pastor has taught me is that we are absolutely better together. And if we can extend ourselves beyond our belief system to be able to say, I'm here to walk with you in this process and to help you make things better, then I think we stand in a really good place. I tell you, this has just been rich. This has been rich. Tell us, and I've been kind of scrolling a little bit of your information. Tell us, if we wanted to become a member or a part of the Culturist Union, what do we need to do?
Absolutely. So we have halted our programming right now as we build this coffee house. But if you want to be a member of the TCU membership, please go to our website, www.theculturistunion, and that's CULTURIST, Culturist Union, and click Become a Member. And we'll put you on our wait list. And as soon as we reopen our programming, you'll be the first person to know. You'll be on our email list. You'll know everything. You'll get updates on the coffee house. You'll get up. We're doing some pretty stellar things in that space, and I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see these local artisans be able to sell their products in the shop. I can't wait to be able to have these entrepreneurial discussions and summits in the space. So sign up. We'll give you the information.
Yes, and I'm actually scrolling your contact email. Is it okay if everyone, I'm kind of doing it. How do you feel about being contacted? You gave me the info. Don't mess with me.
Shoot me an email. Me and a member of my team will follow back up with you. hello@theculturistunion.com. If we don't get back to you, don't have to, it's not charged to our head and not our heart. If we don't get back to you, just shoot us another email that says, hey, I wrote you, and I promise you we'll get back to you. It's just crazy right now. It's crazy right now getting this coffee house up and running. So
Absolutely. Well, I thank you for all that you are doing. Like I said, nothing gets me more jazzed than to see a young person taking the baton, because us older people out here, we still got spunk. So utilize us. Ask as many questions as you can. Find someone, like you said. I love the fact that you said you don't have a problem saying, hey, can you mentor me? Hey, can you answer this question for me? Because that is the key. That's how we move forward. So I'm glad to hear that. And just know that, and my friend just put it up here, ripples make waves. That's it. We have some things coming up through an initiative that I have through our church called Community Talk, Ripples Make Waves, not because we want to be seen, but because we see that there are some issues and some problems, and we want to be a part of the solution. So I love what you're doing, Elbi. I am here for you. I am here for it, and excited about what's going on. One question I always ask everyone that comes on is, what are you doing right now that causes you to find joy in the journey and to build and empower yourself and others to live radiant lives?
Well, I count it all joy, because when I think about the journey that I've been on with the Culturist Union, it hasn't been all great. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. There have been times where I have had to decide, am I going to put on this event, or am I going to pay my car note? Like, am I going to, or I'm tired. I'm like, this doesn't seem like this is working out for me. I'm not getting ahead. And then something happens. I read something a few years ago that said that the universe doesn't conspire for or against you. It goes with the energy that you give it. And so I always try to consult with like the God in me and say, okay, I'm gonna put forth all of this, drive, and I'm gonna be tenacious about this, and I'm gonna have the gumption to get it done, and the audacity to get it done. And every time I do that, every time there's a setback, and then I recharge, and I have people pour into me, and I'm able to recharge, something miraculous happens. Even the smallest thing. I'll get an email from someone that I wanted to connect with, or I'll get a grant, or someone will offer their space to me pro bono just because they believe in the cause, or someone will send me an email, and so I'll celebrate those things, and those things bring me joy. Um, and so right now, I am just feeling all the love that I've received from that email, or not from that email, from that article. There's just been an overwhelming support of love. And for a while, I was wondering whether or not the community even wanted this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding out that it is a yes, like a very, very firm yes. And so that brings me joy. Just knowing that I'm able to serve a need brings me like incredible, incredible joy. And so I think that is what keeps me going and radiant and happy and like pressing forward on this.
Absolutely. That is so beautiful. We're going through a study right now through my church. And one of the things that we are saying through that study is pray as though it depends on God, because it does,
Mhm.
but work as though it depends on you, because it does. Those two things have to come together. And what I'm hearing from you is that when you dig deep and you say, okay, you're speaking to the spirit that leads you, and you're saying, hey, I'm working. Let's hook up.
Funny though, because I remember I used to go to one of my churches, like I said, in Japan. When I lived in Japan, Bishop Smith used to always say, like, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. And I used to be like, okay, whatever. But I realized throughout this journey, like, you really do have to do the work. Like, no, you're not gonna wake up and like bippity boppity boo, like the things that you want in your life are gonna like manifest to you. I don't care how many crystals you have. I don't care how many prayer closets you have, how many oils you have, how many sages. I don't care how many verses you quote on your Bible scriptures. Like, you're gonna have to put in the work. And so I'm just grateful that I've been able to put in the work, and every time you do something, it returns to you. I promise you it does. And so it's just like I just count it all joy, and I just thank God for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for this time today. I am telling you guys, get on the wait list for the Culturist Union. Back this young lady up. If you have any resources that you have access to,
Can I say something really quickly?
yes, you sure can.
So the Culturist Union is still crowdfunding for the coffee house. If you go to ifundwomen.com/projects/culturist-union, and I can put that in the comments.
Yes.
We would love your contribution. Little by little, we can get this thing done. One of my goals is to be able to open up the coffee house completely debt free. I don't want to have the burden of paying a traditional loan while we're serving these Black entrepreneurs. And so if anyone wants to put in, $5, $10, $10,000, we will put that money to good use. And there are a lot of Black artisans that would appreciate that, including myself. So
all right. Hey, no, that's why you're here. I want people to hear how they can help and how they can be a part of what's going on in your world, because I like to find people that are not doing it just for themselves, but they are opening the door for others. I had that opportunity. Someone welcomed me through, and I want to make sure that I'm doing that for others. And so when someone else is doing it, I'm like, hey, yes. And a friend of mine just said, write the vision. That's it. Write the vision. Write the vision. Well, Elbi, I thank you so much. I want you to hang around for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and close us out this morning. I tell you, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, if you have something that God has put in your spirit, there's someone out there that will work with you, that will help push you through. And remember, here at Be Radiant, our goal is to build and empower you to live a radiant life. And we cannot do that alone. So when you come in this room, you're going to hear positive and encouraging conversations that will help direct you in a path that will bless you. And so thank you guys for stopping in this morning. Thank you for giving me a part of your Saturday morning. I don't take you for granted. I know that you could be somewhere else, but you are sharing with us. And so I want you to be radiant today. Blessings.
You could go ahead and tip